G, your physiology is transitioning from a 1G environment to 0G, and it takes a little bit of adapting. So right now they're working hard. They are doing what they need to do. They sound great on the loops. That was really a good signal to us that they're feeling well. But just know that that's part of the equation, when they get on orbit. As far as the food being tracked, yes, we have a food lab, and we have folks at the Johnson Space Center tracking what they eat, the nutrition, the calories. It makes a difference. They do this on Artemis. They do it on Space Station as well. So we're well versed in that. We want to make sure that they're healthy, and we also want to make sure we know what they're doing, what they're eating, so we can also track that and make sure that they don't need any supplements or anything additional.
Thank you.
We'll head over to Joey.
Thanks, guys, and congrats on a clean launch so far. Jared, or whoever wants to answer, how were you able to resolve the communications issue, and do you have any guesses as to what might have caused that? And was there any part of the mission so far that appeared off nominal, or is everything looking good? Just curious to hear how things are going on that. Thanks.
Well, on the comms issue, and I don't know, there may be someone here that has a little more detail than I do of having to run around quite a bit, but I think they're still looking into trying to really understand exactly what was going on there. But it's restored, which is important. I think it just.
It was during handover to Tedros West. Sometimes that's squirrely ground configuration. You gotta get that right. So hopefully that's what it is. But we'll chase it down. But they were able to recover. They had intermittent forward and return links, so the burns that they needed on board it was never an issue. It was unusual for it to be dropped out for a couple minutes. So that's why we're telling you. We had a controller issue with the toilet when they spun it up, so we got to work through that. That's going to take maybe a few hours to troubleshoot. So there was also a water tank valve. There's 4 water tanks on Orion. There's a crossover valve that connects the 2 gangs of tanks. It's supposed to be open to ensure maximum flow. It was closed during ascent. When you shake the thing, things like that happen. So they're going to reset the valve. And then they had a recurrence on Artemis 1, we had a latching current limiter failure on a piece of electronics, a transient failure when it gets exposed to radiation. They took 1 hit of those. We took about 24, 25 of those during Artemis 1. Again, normal, the onboard fault detection cleans that up, but we're just getting started, Joey.
Just to be clear, right, this is a flight test, and a lot of what we're doing here is exactly this, trying to test out all of the things that require the crew interaction, right? And so we anticipate to have a lot of these. Well, that's what we're here for, work through them.
Sawyer.
Importantly, apogee raise burn. We're go. So they're going to stay in space.
Sawyer.
Thank you, Sawyer Rosenstein, NSF. I noticed that the slide wire baskets happened to deploy during launch. Is that something that was expected? And can you give any initial reports, at least what you've seen from the cameras, of how the mobile launcher is doing, given the hope to be able to quickly turn it around?
Yeah,
Do you have something on the baskets? I can talk about the turnaround.
The baskets they're supposed to get out of the way. That's part of the plan. So otherwise they take plume loads, and we don't like that.
So I can tell you on the mobile launcher, our team has already been looking at a lot of the imagery that we have that was taken both during and after, and assessing that, trying to get the condition. We've got teams, I believe, going out there. They might already be out on their way to take a real look. Some of the good things that we've seen relative to Artemis 1, one of the issues we had was that the water that was supposed to be spraying down the launch pad, so that there were some issues there that didn't happen. We saw a lot of corrosion. The water was working, so things were getting washed down. We're still also going to remove some of the parts so that we can do some of that cleaning to make sure we don't have those corrosion issues. We haven't seen evidence of things like after Artemis 1, like the elevator doors were blown off. We haven't seen that. So we're optimistic, but we got to get out to the pad. We got to look. We did a lot of changes after Artemis 1, trying to harden the systems so that we can turn it around faster. We do anticipate there will be some items that'll need to be replaced. It's a pretty violent environment, but we're hopeful that that's minimized. And as soon as we have more information on that, we'll definitely let you guys know where we stand and how quickly we think we can get it turned around. Thanks.
Lauren. Lauren Grush with Bloomberg. I just wanted to get a gut check on how we're feeling about the upcoming proximity and ops operation. Do we have any concerns with that TDRS delay, or is that not an issue for that?
I would say right now we're on for the proximity operations demo. Haven't heard anything that's keeping us from that, Norm?
No, on track, ready to go. Victor Glover's going to be flying it. Reed's going to be working the procedure with him. And cross-checking, and Jeremy and Christina are going to be looking out the windows, also spotting, cross-checking, using cameras and imagery, and it should be beautiful. So we can't wait.
We'll go right over here.
Yes, Bert Dick from Ad Astra Magazine, National Space Society. Just wondering if the astronauts reported what the ride was like to orbit. I know with the space shuttle, it was a pretty rough ride until there was SRB SEP. Was this similar?
Have you heard?
I have not heard a report yet. I know we will get a report. Again,
Yes.
when MECO happened, immediately they were getting prepped to do their perigee raise maneuver. That's critical. Otherwise, they come back to Earth, which we don't want them to. So they got that. They are working to get their spacesuits off. They're, they just got the ARB burn, which was very important. So now they're working to get their suits off. So they are very busy. Now, later today, I anticipate they will call down and give us a full brief as to, how the Proxox demo went, how the ride uphill went, and I personally can't wait to hear the comparison between this massive rocket and the shuttle.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Micah.
Thanks, Bethany. Micah Maidenberg, Wall Street Journal. Maybe for the administrator, I'd like to ask you, I know we're early on here, how you're thinking about success for this mission, defining success, a lot of tests ahead, and just what happens if you don't kind of meet that standard as the flight unfolds. Thanks so much.
Well, I mean, to me, success is undershoots and in the water safely after a 10-day mission duration, so no early off-ramps there. I think we're, right now we're already getting good ECLIS data. We've never flown Orion with crew on board, so that's pretty important. I mean, understanding the Orion spacecraft is, is paramount in this one to progress on to integrated operations of Orion with a lander. Every day we're getting data. It says, it was mentioned from the get-go, this is a test mission for sure. No crew have ever ridden this before. We'll keep gathering data over the next 10 days. We'll share updates, but we'll call success when they're in the water safely, and we'll start working on the next mission.
Jackie.
Hi, right here. Sorry if I missed it. I just wanted to check in on the status of the